Stay tuned. Coming up is our interview with Captain Eric Wappel as he shares a tale of complacency and how he used it as a teaching moment for his department. Hello and welcome to the Situational Awareness Matters Show, episode 390. I'm your host, Rich Gassaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence, time-compressed environments with changing conditions. The SA Matters mission is simple. We want to help you see the bad things coming in time to prevent bad outcomes. Today's feature segment is sponsored by Gassaway Virtual Training. There are 33 online training programs there for you to choose from. Some of the programs are live events presented virtually, and some of them are pre-recorded programs. To learn more, visit samatters.com website and click on the Virtual Training tab. Okay, let's jump into our feature segment, our interview with Fire Captain Eric Wappel as he shares a tale of complacency and how he used it as a teaching moment for his department. Hey everyone, Rich Gassaway here, host of the Situational Awareness Matters Show. I have a special guest with me today, Eric Wappel of the North Judson, Wayne Township, Indiana Fire Department. And Eric had a near miss event, and he and I were having a conversation about it. And I invited him onto the show, and he agreed to come on and share the experience of this particular near miss with us. So, Eric, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Let's start by just telling us some of your background, how you got in the fire service. What inspired you to serve, and then a little bit about your journey that gets us up to our conversation today.
Well, I guess it all started back in high school. I just remember every time the local fire department got called out, I was always interested in what they were doing. I'm a farmer by trade, so I was kind of into big trucks and pumps, and we do a lot of irrigation. So that kind of tied into moving a lot of water. So it always kind of interested me. And as soon as I got out of college, I hit up the local fire chief and applied to the department and got on there. And that was a little over 15 years ago when I got started at my first department, Sanpere Fire Department in Sanpere, Indiana, just about 6 or 7 miles away from where I am now. And then about 12 and a half years ago, I moved and ended up applying at the local fire department and been on North Judson ever since.
Okay. So how long have you been on North Judson?
Like 12 and a half years, I believe. Yeah, about 12 and a half years.
Okay. And your position there is firefighter?
Currently I'm the captain. My sixth year. This will be my 6th year serving as captain in our department.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about the community that you serve, as far as where is this in relation to, say, the nearest city of size that somebody could get a point of reference to?
Valparaiso, Indiana is where pretty much everybody knows. That's our closest town. They're about 30 miles to the northwest. We're kind of like 60 miles straight north of Lafayette, Indiana, where Purdue is. A lot of people know where that is too. So
yeah, sure. And what's the community like? Is it like is it just like a bedroom community, or is there commercial, industrial? What's the population?
Yeah, I think our town is about 2,000. We do have hydrant system in town, a couple water towers, some commercial businesses, a little bit of light industry, not a whole lot. And then we do cover 72 square miles, all of Wayne Township, and then additional half of a township to the south, and a most small township to the north, but most of that. So we do cover a lot of farms, woods, brush, fires like that. We get a lot of. We do have a county EMS service. We do have an ambulance stationed in town, so we don't do frontline EMS service, but we do assist them quite a bit.
Okay. When you say assist the frontline EMS, would you be dispatched to cardiac arrest, or would you wait for them to call you for help and then you would respond out to help?
A lot of times on a cardiac arrest, overdose, big trauma incident, unresponsive, stroke, stuff like that, we get toned out with EMS.
Okay.
And then they request us additionally on top of that, whether it be a lift assist or it changes as they get on scene, or when they're en route too. Sometimes they'll just ask for our assistance.
And that EMS is like a private service?
No, it's a public service. It's a county funded service.
Okay.
We're pretty lucky. We have a pretty poor county in the state of Indiana, but we have a pretty gosh darn good EMS service.
Good. Now, do you have automatic aid or mutual aid agreements with other fire departments around you?
We do now, actually, as of about a month ago. Well, we've always had the agreements that we can call anybody, they can call us, stuff like that. But we had just finalized new box alarm, maybe it's box alarm system here about a month ago. And we do actually now have a automatic mutual aid engine coming from Knox, a nearby town, city. They're kind of in that mix of, they're probably a city, but they're also a volunteer department. We're all volunteers in our county.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of a new revelation for us here.
Yeah, good. Good luck with that. It has worked well in the departments that I have been affiliated with. How many active members do you have?
25. We've been really blessed to keep a full roster. That's kind of part of the reason why we in the past typically didn't have automatic mutual aids. We'll get 12, 15 guys showing up on a structure fire on initial, depending on the day. But yeah, we're full roster right now at 25.
Okay. And let me just shift off the fire department gears for a little bit and plug your full-time job. So tell me a little bit about what you do in farming.
Well, I'm farm owner, manager, whatever you want to call it. Farm with my brother and my dad. He's still around actively farming with us. We cover about 9,000 acres in our county and a few counties around us. Corn, soybeans, and mint. Those are our major crops. So keeps us busy. And kind of cool fact, our assistant chief and our lieutenant of our department both work with me on the farm. So we're kind of a package deal when we get a structure fire. We're all coming or we're not, depending on where we're at. So
okay. So if you're out on the farm and you get a call, depending on how far out you are, you can like button up and respond to the call then?
Well, on our department, we have to go to the station regardless first. So even if we've got to drive past the fire, we're going to the station first. But a medical assist, we can go direct if it's on the way to the firehouse. But yeah, if we're doing our farm policy is if you're doing a activity where you're with other people, like say I'm running the combine and another guy's running the auger cart, we can only leave for structure fires and bad car wrecks. We can't leave for a brush fire that's probably just going to be a one brush truck job. If it's 2 years ago, we got some nasty brush fires and we left for those. But if you're farming by yourself, you're working in the shop, you're running tillage, you can leave for whatever you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I mean, we're the daytime firefighters.
Yeah.
Coming to us, and our chief works in the town, so he's always there too.
Now, you said the farm is owned by you and your brother and your dad?
Correct.
Yeah. Now, is your brother and dad also firefighters?
Nope, they are not.
No? Okay. I'll give a lot of credit to your farming company to have that kind of leniency to allow firefighters to continue to respond while they're working for the company. A lot of businesses have fallen away from giving that kind of support to their community. So credit to your farm for that.
Yeah, we've had to call the fire departments quite a bit on equipment and shed one time. So yeah, we definitely support. We're actually in the Sampier community is our first line of responding directly to the farm. But yeah, we've had to call multiple departments on combines, especially. So
oh yeah, I real brief story. When I was the chief in Ohio, I don't know much about farming. You know, I won't call myself a city boy, but I didn't grow up in the country. I grew kind of up in suburbia, but I don't know much about farming. But we had farms in our community that I served. As a township in Ohio, and we got a report of a combine on fire, and we responded out, and the combine was way out in the field, so we couldn't take the engine. You know, it wasn't 4-wheel drive or anything. We couldn't take the engine out into the field. It would have buried up to the axles pretty quick, I think. But the combine burned up, and then we were talking to the farmer, and found out the value of that combine, the dollar loss of that was more than most of the houses in my community. And I was pretty stunned by, I mean, I had no idea what a combine would cost, but I surely got schooled that that's expensive equipment.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and most of the time by the fire department gets there, it's a lost cause. But hey, if you can save the cab and pull the computers out, or even the tires, if you can save the tires in the back or something, it helps. So.
I was pretty well, and it was probably 300 yards off the roadway, and it was pretty well involved. I mean, we had a header of smoke as we were a mile away. We could see something was burning, and by the time we got there, the farmer was already out to the road to meet us, and I don't think he had any expectation that we were going to change the outcome on that. And I'm not even sure if he's the one that called us. I think a passerby might have called us on it, but
yeah, luckily ours have been pretty small. You get some chaff smoldering or just a small area on fire, and you hold it in check with the extinguishers. And we've just had relatively small ones in ours, but I've responded to quite a few total losses.
Yeah. All right. So the incident that we're here to talk about, I think you said that had happened in January.
Yeah, it was early January.
This year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm presuming that January in Indiana, it would have been pretty cold, as Januaries would go.
Probably between 0 and 20, I would imagine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was cold.
And so were you at work when the call was dispatched?
Well, it's kind of a two-part call. Okay. The initial one, I believe my wife was grocery shopping. I was with the kids at home. Okay. I remember listening to the first one. It got called out for they think something's wrong with the furnace, possible smoke. They're worried about CO. And our engine went out, and, I listened to it. They cleared the place with the tick, had the gas meter in there, no carbon monoxide found, cleared it. Everything sounded good. And, everything was A-OK. They told dispatch, they advised call HVAC, leave the furnace off, unplug, gas shut off to it till the morning, call HVAC, company them inspect it. So it was about 2 hours later, we got called back to the same residence. That's when I was able to respond.
About what time was that?
I think it was about 2 hours later. So like 9:30 at night. Middle
of the night, or is it evening? Or
I think the first call was like 7:30, and the second call was 9 or 9:30.
In the evening.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's dark out.
Okay. So second call is same address. How you dispatched for this one?
The furnace again, smoking. That was kind of the dispatch. They're worried about the furnace. So, okay. Right away in the back of my head, it's like, all right, we'll go, and we'll tell them everything's okay again and come back home.
Now, when you got to the station, was there anyone on your truck that was on the first call already?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. All right. So for everybody, this was their first time going to the address. There wasn't somebody that said, oh, geez, I already been there. Those people probably said, been there, done that. And they probably just stayed home.
Right. That's usually how it goes, about the third fire alarm of the night at the same residence and stuff like that. Usually.
Right. So how many on your crew?
I believe there was just 3 of us on the engine that rolled out, and we had a tanker come out there with 2 or 3.
Okay. And then how far from the station? How long is your response time?
It was just a block or 2 away. It was in town.
Okay. So
I'm a minute or 2 from the station, and we were a minute from the address. So
okay. So because this is a call that had been previously dispatched, what's your mindset on this?
Yeah, again, it was, take my time, make sure I got good socks on, probably take a leak before I head out. And, it's terrible to say, but that's kind of the mindset. We'll just go out there. We'll get the tick. We'll scan the house. We'll get the gas meter. We'll tell them it's fine. There's nothing here. Maybe a little lingering smell from earlier. Not sure what. That's kind of the mindset.
Okay. And, as you arrive, I assume the house is occupied. So how many people are living in the house with it that that you have there to kind of give you a story? Or
I think it was either one or two. I think maybe it was the son of the lady that lived there showed up. I think there was two people on scene there.
Okay. And what are they telling you? Because this is their second time calling the fire department, so I'm sure they've got a story.
Yeah, they just said there's smoke coming from the furnace, and all right, we'll go check it out. And there was a little bit. It was wild.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. So, so you're when you're going into this house, are you like fully geared up and thinking something's probably burning, or are you thinking, I think as you said, just kind of, are you still of the mindset after you talk to them that it's just gonna, scan it with the tick and be out of there kind of thing still?
Pretty much. I mean, we're like, well, we'll go look and see what the smoke is. And, I think you're leading up to it. I didn't even put my Nomex hood on at the fire station because, well, it hangs right there. I got to move it to pick up my helmet. And I just tossed it to the side.
You mean you left your Nomex hood at the station?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I normally my 800 megahertz radio, I take the lapel mic off, and that's how I usually carry it around. Like if I'm in my office or in a tractor, if we get a call, throw it in the radio strap, twist on the lapel mic real quick, and I didn't care to do that night either. I just threw it in my top pocket on my bunker gear, and I was pretty well set up to fail.
Okay. The other firefighter that's with you, how much experience do they have?
One was a rookie. I think he was only on for like 4 months. The other one was an experienced guy.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember correctly.
So the experienced guy, is he driving and the rookie's with you?
I think no. The rookie rode in the back. I think, yeah, I rode in the officer's seat and the other guy drove. Yep.
Okay.
Sure,
So are all three, did all three of you go inside, or did the driver stay with the truck?
I think some of these details may not remember correctly, but I'm sure.
I'm sure you weren't at the time thinking someone's going to interrogate me about this.
I remember some details really well, and other ones I don't remember too well. But
but you're not in there alone. There's somebody in there with you.
Yeah. So I mean, on this call, it would have been, hey, rookie, follow me. We're going to learn something. The guy driving the truck probably would have had the pump circulating, and
Okay.
Whatever. He's going to come check out, see what's going on too, because why are you going to stand next to the truck and be bored when?
Okay.
There's not a whole lot going on, I guess.
Now, when you go into describe this house for me, is it single story, multi-story? Does it have a basement?
Yeah, it was a single story ranch, probably a 1,800 square foot ranch style home, just a basic construction, crawl space, no basement.
Okay. All right. So the furnace is on the first, on the main level.
Yeah, it was in the rear of the house on the main level, back in a utility room / the door to the outside was in the same room.
All right, talk me through this. So you coming through the front door, heading for the furnace.
Yeah, we came through the front door. Just kind of sweeping the tick, checking walls and ceiling and stuff like that on the way to the furnace. And we got back there, and like I said, there was a little bit of smoke. The weird thing was there was no heat signature. We could not the furnace was cool as could be. Everything around it was cool. There's just a little bit of looked like that cold smoke kind of just coming up from around the furnace.
Could you smell it?
Yeah, you could smell it just a little bit. And it was so faint.
Okay.
And, we went outside again. We took the tick around, couldn't find anything. I said, hey, let's check the crawl. I told the rookie, I said, go grab the can, in case there's something down there. You're going to the crawl space tonight because, we're not. And found the crawl entrance, and I popped the cover out. I think it was a piece of plywood or something. And smoke just started bellowing out. I was like, oh, wait, time out. And, we're not, at this point, we're not prepared to enter the crawl space once I found all that smoke. So I, closed it up right away, just try to control the oxygen going in. And that's when I kind of looked at the rookie and said, you're not the one going in there now. So we went ahead and we got a line charged from the engine, got that brought around to the back. got our air packs on, masks on. And that's when I go like this. And I realized I didn't even bring my freaking Nomex. And at the time I never carried a spare Nomex in my gear. Now I do. I got one in my pocket, and obviously I'm never leaving without it again. So me and the other experienced guy, we went ahead and packed up and went in the crawl space. And probably shouldn't have went down there without the Nomex on in the first place. But what are you going to do? At this point, and you got 2 rookies on scene. Neither one of those guys can go down there because they haven't passed any of the certification classes at that time. And you got to leave somebody out at the engine. So you got 3 experienced guys and 2 have to go in. But
so describe this crawl space for me as far as like how tall it is. And I mean, are you literally crawling or crouching or what's,
it was a crawl. You could, I just barely squeezed in with my pack on. The other guy, he actually took his pack off to get through easier into the crawl space. And it was really, really tight. Like the wiggle on your back or wiggle on your side. I mean, if you tried to crawl on your hands and knees, you were going to be too tall. Just sand bottom crawl space, had the plastic liner in there. You look up and floor joists is what you saw above you.
So, and what was the visibility like in there?
It was limited. It wasn't like you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was, I'd call it medium smoke. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't perfect visibility. I don't think I think I could have saw to the front of the house, and that was probably, 20 feet, 25 feet, but the length of the house, I don't think I could have saw all the way across.
Was the smoke whiter or darker?
Yeah, it was a light colored, whitish, grayish smoke.
Okay. Was there heat to the smoke?
No, it was pretty cool down there. I mean, nothing too crazy.
Okay. So you guys are going in trying to find the source of this.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Obviously, we started making our way towards where the furnace was, dragging the hose with us and the tick and doing our little crawl wiggle to get there. But we found the source of it. There was a small active fire there in the crawl space. It burnt through a portion of the floor below the furnace, and it was working its way on the floor joists. So again, it was I told you before, nothing like, oh my gosh, crazy, but in 5 minutes it probably was going to be a pretty good working fire. Yeah. And then that's when we found it, and I wanted to radio up the assistant chief. He was the one out at the tank, tending to the engine, and we needed the tanker. And that's when I was like, I don't even have my lapel mic right here. And I'm fumbling around, curled up under the crawl space, trying to get to talk on the radio and let them know what we found, what we need. And that's when I realized the second error of not being prepared. So I was able to finally get the radio out and use it. But at that point, I probably could have crawled my way back to the entrance. And
how far do you guys have to crawl into that space to get over to where the furnace was? You there? I think we froze up.
It was about in the middle of the house. Oh, great. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey,
okay.
we froze up there for a moment.
All right. Yeah. So we were talking about how far it was away.
Yeah.
The furnace was about in the middle of the house, and the entrance to the crawl space was down towards one of the ends. So it was probably a 20 or 30 foot, crawl to the area.
Okay. All right. So you're able to get to where the fire was, got the fire knocked down. At some point, I believe you probably had some moment of reflection that made you realize that you were not as prepared as you should have been for this, what you ended up encountering. Is that I'm trying to recall back to the conversations that you and I had not too long after it had happened. But somewhere along the way, you realized I was maybe a little bit complacent here.
Right. Yeah. We were down there, and I'm, laying on my back and looking at what's burning and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is, a few minutes away from getting intense possibly. And here I'm exposed neck and size of my face with no hood here, no good way to communicate, what in the world if I got to call Mayday even. I mean, so much easier with the lapel mic right there. And it was just, I'm sitting here like, man, I'm the guy in the department that hammers this stuff and listens to all your podcasts and read one of your books and, had conversation with you on the side. And it's like, well, here I am doing exactly what I'm not supposed to be doing. Like it was so complacent of me to just get in that situation. One, to be on the engine without the proper gear, and two, to find myself in that crawl space. Even to where I could easily ask, hey, one of you rookies, let me borrow your Nomex hood, But at that point, you're like, well, I can't let them know I forgot my Nomex hood. What are they going to say?
Right.
Right. And it's so, it was a humbling experience to get to that point of like, more of the reflection the next day of, obviously nobody was hurt. So you get to think about it a little bit, I guess, longer and easier about what could have happened, what should have happened. How can I move forward? What's the best way to, do I just hide the fact that this happened to me? I don't know if anybody else noticed I didn't have Nomex, and honestly, the radio strap, nobody probably would have really cared because we were just recently got radios at work. So not a lot of guys even used the radio strap yet. We've moving towards that. We got approved budget wise that everybody gets one now and everybody has a radio now. So that's been like the last year and a half in the making of getting, again, we're a very poor county and budget restraints are everywhere. I know throughout the nation, but we couldn't just go out and buy 25 800 megahertz radios to issue. So combination of grants and finding the used ones, we got all that happening now. But I think that's when I kind of contacted you about it a couple of days after. It's like, how do I move forward with this? What's the proper way? So
yeah, I give you a lot of credit for reaching out to me. Because you listen to my show and because you read my book, it takes a lot of courage to call me up and say, I've just become one of the poster children for the things that you teach. And I remember we talked for quite a while. And so what did you do to try to help your department out to, maybe keep something like this from happening again? So, you said, well, I could have just, brushed under the rug but you didn't do that, did you?
No. So with a little bit of your encouragement, I brought it up to the whole department at a business meeting. And as with the new year, so as captain, I'm in charge of the training, setting up the trainings, whether we bring somebody in or, I set it up myself or just talk about something. But I start a new thing, just call it training minutes. It's during the business meeting, I just talk or have somebody else talk about something for a few minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, this is a great time to bring up complacency during training minutes. And I printed out a couple of your articles, brought those up there, read through those that were, dealing with what had just happened to me. And so, brought it up to the department, explained exactly what happened. I apologized to the rookies that may have noticed that I was without the proper gear that here I am supposed to be showing them the way and showing them the wrong way. And I was really surprised the positivity of the department. There was none of the, well, you're an idiot or we don't care. It was then some other guys started opening up some stories of their own of here's a situation I got myself into 23 years ago. Here's a situation, and we had a really good conversation that went on for like 15 minutes just about this whole general complacency and situational awareness. And yeah, it was a really good moment for our department in my mind and for me also. So it obviously is something I think about every time the tone drops. Definitely, make sure we're going to have the right gear, being a lot more aware of what's going on scene. So it was a really positive moment. Good.
I'm really encouraged by you saying that others opened up and started sharing their experiences too. It takes a leader to take the first step and kind of bring that light onto themselves. And then what you find out is you're not as alone in having mistakes like this happen as you might have thought. And I give you a lot of credit, because I know when you and I talked, I said, here's what I think you should do is stand before the membership and kind of put the spotlight on this and talk about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, what you learned from it. And you did just that. And it sounds like it turned out fantastic. But I think another thing that comes from that, having to humble yourself in front of the membership, is I think you probably now think to yourself, I don't want to do that twice. I don't want to stand in front of them again with another story, right?
Right, for sure.
The training minutes, talk to me a little bit about, that's a kind of an interesting concept of, so what is your theory on this is just small bites of educational content at every business meeting, and then over the course of time, people will, they'll be learning things, but just in little bites. Is that the whole premise of that?
Yeah, it's just another way to hit up, obviously we have more training nights and training days on weekends, sometimes in bigger events, but just something to hit on the little things that, in my mind wouldn't take up a whole hour and a half event. Don't have to drag hose out for it. So for example, the last one we did, we end up driving the ambulance a lot to the hospital. That way the EMT can ride in the back with the paramedic. And there's about 6 different hospitals that we may end up at, depending on the type of call. So printed out a map of these hospitals that we commonly go to, and where do you take the ambulance to? Because, the last time I drove, it was to a new one. And so I had like, hey, I don't even know where to take this ambulance. Hey guys in the back, working your butts off. I know where the hospital is, where do I park? So I thought that'd be a great little tidbit information. Here in a week, we have our next business meeting, and I've got, fire fittings. We're just going to talk about that. What's the difference between NST and NH? Nothing, but some guys don't know that. How do the storage fittings fit in, and who carries what size around us from mutual aid departments, and, everything on fire fittings and what you might run into. So something, just a small 5-minute or so, maybe a handout or just a discussion or a blackboard, writing on the blackboard type of thing.
Yeah. Nice. I think it's a nice addition to the business meeting. Is you're still, instead of just doing all business, you're building just a small bite of training into it at, while you have them there and taking advantage of that. Is there anything you'd want to share about this experience that you haven't had the chance to share because maybe I didn't ask you the right question?
I think you covered all of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not asking you to make something up. I just want to know if I didn't want us to end the show and then have you think, oh man, there was one more thing that I really would have wanted to. But if there isn't, then that's good. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this experience. And I especially think for the listeners and viewers, one of the most powerful takeaways of this entire interview is not the near miss event itself, and it's not the act of complacency. It's the act of leadership that followed it to bring to the organization the fact that this happened and share it with people that weren't even there, that had no idea it happened and would have never known anything about it happening. But to blow the whistle on yourself and say, this happened, I'm responsible, I set a bad example for my rookie, apologize to your rookie, and then to have a conversation with the people in the business meeting and to have you share here today of just how valuable and just how powerful that was. I think that's maybe the most important lesson of this whole thing, because there's so many times that people will have these acts of complacency and they'll look left and they'll look right and they'll say, nobody saw that. And then they sweep it under the rug and they never share it. And then it just perpetuates. It just continues I'm sure that what you did and the way you handled that raised everyone in that organization. It raised their vigilance about how easy it is to become complacent and how close you can come to a consequence when you become complacent. I think that's really, really powerful. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with me when you called me, for following the advice. I wasn't sure if you would or not, but you did, and have that conversation, and then come on and do this episode. It's just three really, really powerful things, and I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah, and I'm just happy that it was we'll call it a minor event that hopefully it definitely opened my eyes, and I'm sure it opened some other guys on the department after discussing it. And my stomach was in knots right before I started talking about it to the department. I'm so happy I did, and I don't know what it takes. It's like I said, I've listened to a lot of your podcasts and everything, and I don't know what, maybe it shouldn't take an event like that to get your mind right, but I guess it did in my situation. Hopefully that cures it for a lot of the other guys on my department and maybe anybody listening. But so positive moving forward, and just happy to talk about it.
All right. Thank you, Eric, and have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric Wappel, for sharing your story with us today, along with your valuable lessons about owning your mistakes. Since the start of the pandemic, I've had some tremendous opportunities to present my programs on virtual platforms to groups ranging in size from 6 to more than 500, with recorded playbacks being viewed over 30,000 times. It appears as though the pandemic has taken a turn for the better, and the world is opening back up again. And for that, I think we can all be very thankful. I want to take a moment to thank the agencies that have hosted some recent live events, including the Maryland Fire Chiefs Association Leadership Symposium, which they hosted for their members in Rockville, Maryland. The United States Forest Service Spring Leadership Meeting, which was actually conducted virtually with a group that is in the Pacific Northwest. The Voluntary Protection Program Participants Association Region 9 Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. The National Park Service Leadership Team Meeting at Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. The Ontario Fire Chiefs Association Annual Conference in Toronto, Ontario. The Northeast Public Power Association Conference and Lineman's Rodeo in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And the New York State Fire and Life Safety Educators Conference in Montour Falls, New York. If you're interested, here's where we're going to be upcoming. And hopefully you might be able to join us at one of our events. On June 8th, we will be in Boston, Massachusetts, presenting at the National Fire Protection Association Expo and Conference. On June 18th, we'll be at the Swissvale, Pennsylvania Fire Department for a safety seminar for the region around the Pittsburgh area. On June 20th, we'll be doing a morning program in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania for the Mount Lebanon Fire Department, and then an evening program on the same date for the Mount Lebanon Fire Department. On June 21, we'll be at the Elyria, Ohio Fire Department consulting with their department on training and situational awareness. In the evening on June 21, we'll be in Canfield, Ohio, presenting for the Cardinal Joint Fire Protection District. On June 22, we'll be in Ravenna, Ohio, doing a presentation for the Portage County Fire Chiefs Association. And our master instructors are also working hard, adding programs to this list as well. You can view a list of all of our upcoming programs on the samatters.com website. If you're interested in hosting a live event or a virtual event, just go to the samatters.com site and click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the homepage, and I'll give you a call. Finally, remember to check our show notes for how to subscribe to our newsletter and how to follow us on social media. There we share ideas about how to improve situational awareness how to make better decisions under stress, and how to improve the skills of critical thinking and resilient problem solving. Well, that's it. Episode 390 of the Situational Awareness Matters show is complete. Thank you again to my guest, Fire Chief Eric Wappel, for sharing his tale of complacency with us today. Thank you to our viewers and listeners for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters show with Dr. Richard Gassaway. If you're interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit his website, samatters.com. If you're interested in booking Dr. Gassaway for a program, or if you would like to be a guest on his show, click the Contact Us tab at the top of the homepage.